I don't mean you're going to have, let's just go on. I said to her when I sat next to her, is it all right for me to sit next to Mother? She says, yes, everything's under control. I said, because I'll be the first one out of the building if it's not. I want you to know that. But we're back again, and we have a lot of different interesting things to cover with you. And today will be the first day when you'll have an opportunity, those who wish to stay. I always hate to do these things because some people say, well, if I don't stay, they're going to think I'm not, but you've reached a point where there is so much going on and so many who have come here from other places and have touched the earth that it is time to identify yourself, who you are, where you're from, and so forth. But I was telling Joan last week, we were riding in the car, that I had felt a closer sense of a light presence than I've ever felt before. I mean, it had me to the point where I just sat staring out the window and knew, that you're in the presence of something. Not a person per se, but I suggested to her that those of you who were very sensitive and open would also feel this presence. There's a need on the part of those who have arrived to come close to those of you who really do know and are open, and you will feel this. They have come to earth in a wave. The main thrust of the change upon the earth is not arrived as of yet. But the main thrust that has come upon will touch you during a very time of your quiet time. And if you have even a limited knowledge of what I have been talking about, and you're sensitive, you'll feel something that seems strange, but in actuality is your true family. When sometimes we try to judge these things, they get carried away into New Age or into this paranormal stuff that it's not really what this is, because we're talking about a primitive mind that has developed a lot over the last 100 years to a point where we can start realizing sensitivities. You see a lot of the change. I mean, much of the change that you've seen recently is in the cult people have more or less cohesed to the point where they have fought these manipulations of the mind by electrical impulses from above and continue to think as they have. But have you noticed, I mean, the Clinton thing was the prime example of what would a few years ago been a horrendous thing that, and nobody cared. All of these things that he got involved in is just, nobody cared. And of course, the cult people were outraged. People have no values. Our values are gone. It wasn't that at all. It was that adjustments have been made in the mindset of free people, individual people, to where they have lost an interest in judging other people. There's a tremendous lack of interest in judging other people. There's a tremendous lack of interest in judging oneself. There's a lack of interest in interpreting the actions of another. And these things have changed the way whole civilizations now upon the earth are starting to operate. And so those who are parts of the cults or the groups feel, our traditional values are, well, those traditional things have been disrupted by changes in the gates in the brain by electrical impulses. And so people start to thinking individually. I was talking to Dot. Dot said to me, I don't care if he's got 10 girlfriends. I can basically, this is what it is. There's no longer this connection to the old traditional sense of values. There's a whole new way that each person is now responding and is separating themselves from interest in that. So what's going to happen? Are rays of light going to impact our brains so we know, what lottery numbers to play or things like that? Or how to get a new job? Or is this power going to sweep us into some dark hole? And the violence of these magnetic thrusts is bursting through the universe. It's an amazing time. And if you're even the least bit aware, you should be able to sense the changes upon the earth, sense the changes in yourself. And now, since I've told you about being sensitive, when you are quiet and you are sensitive, you'll feel this. You say, gee, something is there. Beings of light flowing downward, and some have arisen, and they will bring light to awaken the masses, and much has happened. And that's why people sat through this whole thing with this Clinton business of sex and lying and spying and all these things. Nobody cared. And and yet the groups that were have set our traditional values, they can't understand why nobody cared. But it's this change that has been orchestrated in the minds by these impulses. So you have to identify yourself, and that's one of the prime things, and that's why I'm going to ask you if you're interested today. You have to identify yourself to them. They have to know that you know who you are and where you're from. Do you have any idea who you are? The Bible says that God is light, and it says that you are the children of the light. You are not the children of your parents. You are the children of the light. You drive a Ford car or a Chevy car or a Pontiac, but you're not part of the family of Chevy or Pontiac or Ford. You simply happen to be in their vehicle. Well, in the same way, you're not in the family of the name that you carry. You just simply happen to be in their vehicle. And when their vehicle runs out of gas, you're out of here and you'll get another one. Maybe a different model. So here when Joan and I were speaking, and I said, people are going to have experiences now, and they're going to be, for the most part, afraid to say, unless I suggest to them that if they're sensitive, they'll feel these things. And they're wonderful things. These are the things those people up on the street have been going to church for all their lives. And now when it happens, they're scared to death. They'll say, oh, it's a cult. And they run and hide and slam the big doors and hide behind the stained glass and sing songs. But you don't want to do that. You want to welcome those who are changing the horror that has been the civilizations of the earth. Welcome. And I had a wonderful story. And these folks, this person who told me the story this morning, had not been advised by me that this was going on now, and to be sensitive and to be aware. And so when she told me, I was really touched by it. Do you want to come up and share this? Can you make it up the... there she comes. All right. She's doing great, too. I can't wait for this one.
Me too.
Huh? No, I guess. I'm sure. Okay, you want to tell everybody?
Okay. Last night I fell asleep on the couch, which I normally do. And I was having a wonderful dream. I was dreaming I was in Hawaii with my girlfriend, walking on the beach. It's not like anything strange was going on. And I just happened to wake up. It was around 2:45, 2:30 in the morning. Now, if any of you know me, I wear contacts, so I don't see well, but I had my glasses on. I fell asleep with my glasses. When I woke up, I saw this hand in front of me, and it was very long hand, and it had very long fingers. As a matter of fact, it kind of looked like E.T., except it didn't have the little green light on the end. And I'm looking, and I went, and then it disappeared. And it was very strange. And then I sat there, and I'm like, should I go to bed? Should I stay up? And then I heard Vinny was up, and I'm like, you can go to bed now. So then I went to bed. And then I wasn't very frightened, though. I wasn't scared at all. I just felt peaceful. And I told him about it when I came to bed, and I forget what he said, but we weren't frightened or anything. We just kind of said, oh, that's nice. And then, of course, I got up and I put the green light on outside. But that's what happened. It was very strange. And so I told Bill about it this morning. I said, I have to tell you this.
Well, I'm glad that you did. And what I told you was now, for both of you, in your quiet time, to just welcome them and to express that they are welcome here. Because little E.T. in here, they have a deep interest in the welfare this beautiful life that you'll be nurturing and you'll be nurturing. So
Okay.
they'll be watching you for a while, but I'm sure you'll do very, very well.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, anyhow, if we look at scriptures, because we have to justify, when we start to think, well, this, was a figment of the imagination, okay, that's fine, but I told, like Joan last week, exactly that this was going to happen. And we're not talking about aliens. That's a bad word, because they're just people who live in a different neighborhood, have as much right to flit around this universe as you and I do. But when we start to understand how the communication goes, pick up any book on quantum physics in 1999 and try to define light. What is light? I looked at the book called The Tao of Physics by Fritjof Capra, and it says on page 61, light is alternating electromagnetic fields traveling through space in the form of waves. So then, that's light traveling through space in the form of waves. Electromagnetic, Now just consider for a moment, how do you communicate? You as a person, you speak, you write, you touch. Your way is physical, as far as you know, and that's how you manifest your communication with other people. Yet you've gone to church for years and you tried to contemplate God, but did so on the basis of superstition of another human being, another person who had a beard and was a father in the physical sense. But how does God communicate? We know how you communicate. You communicate physically. Then we see the definition of light as alternating electromagnetic fields traveling through space in the form of wave. So we look at the scripture, we look at the Bible, we open the Bible, and it says in the Bible, this is the message we have heard, and we say unto you in 1 John 1:5, God is light. So then God is electromagnetic energy traveling through the universe in waves. And then how do you make a contact? How does God make a contact with you? You collapse the wave. It becomes a particle, and it enters into you. The one you've been praying to and the one you have been considering as a father communicates as an electromagnetic field traveling through space in the form of waves. Mark lost his dad. And I spoke with him and I said, this is the one thing, and I was so glad that he came here today, because the one thing that he will not hear anyplace else is the true nature of who his father was. That his father entered into the fetus of his mother many years ago as light and animated a body and gave a body light and electrical energy, and then went through the earth and through this life until the body was no longer able to support it. And then the light which was inside, which is his dad, left. But that light stays for a particular reason, to be there for those who are sensitive to reassure. And I asked Mark, be very sensitive over these next few days. And you'll be reassured totally. Because we attach to the father, or we attach to the mother, we attach to friends and our physical, because we don't know them in their true nature as light, as we are. We shall know as we are known as light. And his dad has returned for however long to that kingdom, that field of light. And so now, if he's very sensitive, if Mark is very sensitive, then he will be touched by this light. And that's the beautiful part of all this, but you've got to know what's going on. Unfortunately, in our religions that we cater to on this planet here, in this country especially, where we have something like this, we're told, oh, don't do that, or don't, that's a cult, you wait until you die, then you'll see him. Bull! It's right here, right now. Nature doesn't play tricks like that. Everything is set here if you can just be open and just be sensitive and understand God is light, you are light. The little baby is an angel of light who has come into her body. Mark's dad is an angel of light who has now just moved outside of the body, waiting. And then as soon as Mark in his quiet time will be sensitive. You are light. You enter into the fetus in the 3rd month. There's an angle of light. And in Daniel 2:22 it says, He reveals the deep and secret things. He knows what is in the darkness, and the light dwells with him. The light dwells with him. We're not talking of light in the visible spectrum that we see in these light bulbs here. We're talking about the light, the gamma, the electromagnetic. We're talking about the infrared, the ultraviolet, all the invisible power. Things that we really know little of. There inside of you, inside the darkness, is revealed the deep and secret things. That's where the light dwells. And how come that is? Because it says in Matthew 5:14, you are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. And yet, for your whole life, you're called by these people, and you go to church and tell them to tell you this. They say, all your unrighteousness is like filthy rags. Get on your knees and appeal. And God is telling you, stand up and be the light of the world that you are. Show them the light. And as soon as you tell them that you're the light, they run like hell because they're afraid of themselves. God is light. You are the light that was sent to the earth. And how does this all happen? Jesus in Matthew 6:22 said, the light of the body is the eye. And if your eye is single, if you practice the single eye, then you will fill with light. And that's how it is. That's how it works, through the pineal gland of the brain. The route that was given for you to enter your mother's body. And here you see a perfect example of it. This couple came together. A body was created. Now, there had to be a life placed inside of that body. And when the time was right, an angel of light, an angle of light came, found its way through the pineal gland of Cindy, entered into through the pineal gland of that little fetus, and now has nested in there, and is a very special one. And that's why the hand was seen there last night to just tell her, we are very close because this little one is ours. And you are given and entrusted with this little one. This is a very special angel of light that she has inside of her. Religion is totally wrong by concentrating on the physical body because they know nothing about the light even though they teach it. And John 12:36 says, while you have light, believe in the light that you may be the children of the light. God is light. Jesus is light. Electromagnetic waves that flow through the earth bringing truth and healing. Looking for its children. Looking for you. Searching for you. Waiting for you to be sensitive to open up to it. To watch and to collapse the wave. If you will believe in the light, you will be the children of the light, and you may return then to your true mother and father. Mark's dad has returned to his true mother and father. And Mark one day will return to his true mother and father, which are the mother and father of light. Gates within your brain have to open so you begin to think on a higher plane. Chakras or seals will open and will explode within you, and you'll be linked to the cosmic tree of life. That's what this is about. And that's why it's getting so close, and that's why I feel it so heavy. And that's why strange things, which we consider strange, but these are wonderful things. Coming soon upon this earth is the confusion of Y2K, but what follows is much greater, much more powerful, and I'm here to try to help you get through this destructive fury and to find your peace and to find your place in this universe. If you are reassigned or if you are remaining here, I don't know. Y2K means year 2000, and 2000 is the time of the great light coming down from the single line. Not because of all of this New Age hullabaloo about 2000. I could care less about that. I'm talking about what the people from Hubble, what the people from NASA said, and what I've given you, and the stuff that I've given you, in which they say that the light from supernova will be completed and fulfilled down upon the earth between 2000 and 2002. That's sensational. Why? It's the single eye in the sky on fire. So I'm going by that. I'm not going what some New Age person says. I'm going by what NASA says, what the scientists have said. I'm not saying that Y2K is caused by that, but I am saying that Y2K is to cause confusion. Call it coincidence if you want, but it's coming right in the middle of Uranus, Aquarius, Pluto, and Charon, which are all entities of great confusion. I'm not given to panic. Panic? Where am I going to panic? Where am I going to go? I can't get off. Remember the old show, Stop the World, I Want to Get Off? Where are you going to go? You don't panic, you're here. This is the end of it. You know? But I believe that the light which is our Father and Mother is powerful enough to protect us in all ways. I honestly believe that. But from CBS News came the following report dated March the 2nd. Y2K has hospitals ailing. Senator Robert Bennett of Utah said, I don't think it's automatic that we're going to get widespread death as a result of this, but there could be some feathery moments. Medical professionals at Albany Medical Center in New York, through Arthur Gross, said about their hospital equipment, some of these machines cannot be made Y2K compliant. And at his hospital, he says, guarding against Y2K trouble is a $90 million project. If the data that is passed through these systems is not Y2K compliant, it could contaminate other systems. The Senate's most alarming conclusion in a report in the year 2000 is that healthcare is the most vulnerable. Potentially, there could be some risk to patients hospitalized in these settings. Facing the potential of massive liability with just 10 months to go, the industry is spending millions in Y2K fixings. The diagnosis is serious and the rush is on to avoid an emergency. And that's chaos, that's confusion, and that's Pluto, that's Chiron. Little gray men. From the Associated Press comes this. Senator Christopher Dodd of Connecticut and Senator Bennett of Utah head a special Senate panel on Y2K, issued a 160-page report outlining serious potential problems in healthcare, energy supply, and government services. So there's a potential for trouble, especially from more underdeveloped countries who may have missile programs computerized. What's going to happen? I don't know. What about airplanes? What about elevators? I'm not going to be on no elevator or in an airplane. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't be on one anyhow, but I'm sure not going to be on one then. I'm going to be right here on the ground. I ain't messing with that stuff. I'd be sure I'll be in an elevator, on December 31st. Bang, and I'm in the middle between the 5th and the 6th floor. No, I don't want that. But all of this is coming down right in the middle of the time of the fire from the great eye. So the gates of light are beginning to swing open, and I encourage you to make sure that the green light is on in your house. Why? It's a symbol for you. Gentleman on the internet asked me, what's this green light business? We've been through this. Light from above interacts with the green, the chlorophyll, and creates living cells. And in the body, light from above interacts with the hemoglobin, and creates ATP, which is this long word, but it talks about giving life to cells. So it's a combination. The thing that is akin to chlorophyll in a body is hemoglobin. And it is light interacting with the body, light interacting with the vegetation, which creates life. It's electromagnetism. And so we put a green light. Because the old Passover was killing of the lamb. That was of the Aries. This is not killing of anything. This is the resurgence, the blooming of new consciousness, new life, and it's the light and the earth, which is the green light. The true teachings, which no church, no religion on the face of the earth knows anything about, have been encoded into a language of light which is only available through the third eye. The only place that you can understand the true teachings is through the manifestation, through the pineal, through the third eye, through the knowledge in the mind. That's why your meditation is so important. The Brotherhood of Light, of whom sent an emissary who visited Cindy, will be turning to the earth at this time, and to the initiation of life into new forms, both physical forms and light forms. Now, if I was saying up here was a bunch of hogwash, you would know it, but you yourself are sitting in the earth and you see the changes, you see the confusion, you see yourself, how you yourself feel. It can't come from what I said or what somebody else says or what's in it. It has to come from, how do you feel? How do you feel inside of yourself? You've been given a wisdom, and now it's time to accumulate what you have learned, and much of it you've learned here, into a higher world wisdom that will unite your light body with your family of light. There are 3 divisions which will be forming within the ether, and that I talked about last week. There is Michael, Enoch, and Melchizedek, which are just words for these different light patterns that will be imposing themselves on you. The existence of these is for one purpose, and that is to restore us out of sleep, that you may begin this universal repair. Completely moving in a different pattern to repair the destruction that has come on the consciousness of the earth because of things that went wrong in the past. There are quantum changes coming upon the earth, running down from the universe, that will affect every level of intelligence. Even the very sciences we've studied will take quantum leap forwards, and they are. My God, what more do you want? Last week, a woman, physicist in Denmark, slowed light down to 38 miles an hour. And it's like nobody paid any attention. Do you realize what happened? Albert Einstein, these people never even dreamed of anything like that. She put the light in, went, got a cup of coffee, had lunch, came back, and it just came out the other side. And if it went down to 38 miles an hour, it means it stops. That's why I'm saying Mark's dead. He's sitting right on the porch. It's the way it is. We don't understand. We're so primitive in understanding these things. And the reason we're so primitive in understanding these things is because these religious people who we bow our knees to killed the Galileos and the Copernicus and the Rene Descartes who were trying to tell them, hey, you're full of baloney. And other things. That's why you're reading about teleportation of photons at this time. Who ever heard of such a thing? And they're doing it. You don't even know what's going on. You're sitting here in Vito's basement, and people are teleporting light, teleporting bacteria. Before you know it, people will be teleporting people. UFOs? Of course. They don't fly down here. They sit and are teleported here. And then sit and are teleported back. How can primitive people start talking about, well, I don't believe that? How would you even conceive of anything like that? And Pluto and Charon have crossed the river of Neptune to take their position, right where they should be. Right where they should be. And they did it on February the 11th. Charon put his staff into the murky water and pushed his skiff away and started across the river Styx, which is Neptune. And now on March 15th, and today is March 7th, in 8 days there will be a rendezvous with Pluto and Charon will establish the doorway to the next world. I didn't say in 8 years, in 8 months. I didn't say after you die. 8 days. You are living in a three-dimensional world, and some of you will be transmitted into a fourth dimension, which will take you beyond conventional time. If you're ready for it. If you're not, don't worry about it. It won't happen to you anyhow. You'll have to be ready for this. You'll have to be knowledgeable about this. You will eventually, if you're knowledgeable, you will stand, and those people who will come running out of church screaming their heads off, you'll stand and say, wait a minute, let me explain, and take them under your wing and explain to them what the reality of what they call God truly is. The ceiling on the frequency level is about to be lifted. You've begun to understand the scriptures that you've read in a new way. These words are coded and were placed there for a particular reason. I talked to you last week about the Coptic Gospel of Thomas. And this is what I'll ask those of you who want to come forward and commit yourself, not commit yourself, strike that, and just identify yourself. You're committing me. Just identify yourself. What Jesus said, if they ask you, where do you come from? What is your answer? I come from the light. You've never said that to anybody. You've got to identify yourself. Who are you? I am from the light. It's your confirmation. Go tell them at the church. You made your confirmation. Let me show you why I would wish that you would work on your meditation. As I have been given information, let me share you with why you should not miss out on what is coming. And you shouldn't miss it, because you don't have to join anything, you don't have to go anywhere, it doesn't cost you anything. Please, whatever you do, don't join anything. Don't get involved in any group or organization, anywhere. Stay by yourself. Stay with the ones of the light. It's very hard for many of you to understand the meditation that I've given you, because though it is only 5 seconds long, there's a reference to collapsing the wave within yourself. You saw earlier that God is light, electromagnetism, which flows through the universe. Inside of you, the light which you are flows in the same way. Mark's dad, the light flowed in the same way inside of him, but when the body failed, that light, and he turned inward, that light collapsed to a particle, then he could leave. When you observe this light flow, it collapses to a particle. Thus, the pineal can become the light receptor and receive from your family of light and transmit. Closing your eyes, telling yourself, I am watching myself, holding your breath to shut down the thoughts is the meditation of this day that will bring you to your family of light. That's it. I hold my breath. Because when you hold your breath, you're imitating that final time of death when the breath stops and you unify with the pineal. I hold my breath, I tell myself I am watching myself, I collapse the wave, and then the wave becomes a particle, and I am ready then to harmonize to the pineal gland of the brain. How do we know that there's any validity to this? How do you know this isn't a lot of bull? How do you know this isn't something, that I concocted up in one of my strange times of listening to Wagner screaming on the radio? How do you know? You don't know. It's this guy's nuts and I'm doing this. But you've been doing this nutty stuff for all these people out there all of your life. Whatever they said stand up, you stood up. Sit down, you sit down. You kneel, they kneel. They ring a bell, you get up. They ring a bell, you get down. All of these things. So I tell you to do something, you say, this guy's crazy. Maybe I'll ring a bell, and you'll all get up. But I want to briefly read to you from a book. We have one copy of this book in the little store there. But I brought my copy from home. It's a book called Zen Physics. And it's a book written by David Darling, who's from London, England. He holds a degree in physics from Sheffield University in England and a degree in astronomy from the University of Manchester in England. On page 131 of this book, Darling quotes the distinguished American physicist John Wheeler. Now, why I'm telling you this is because what I'm saying, while I'm telling you to watch yourself to cause something to happen inside of your head, and you're saying, how do I know that there's any validity to this? This is what John Wheeler said. Nothing is more important about the quantum principle than this, that it destroys the concept of the world as sitting out there with the observer safely separated from it by a 20-centimeter slab of glass. Even to observe so minuscule an object as an electron, you must shatter the glass. You must reach in. You must install your chosen measuring instrument. The measurement changes the state of the electron. The measurement changes the state of the electron. The universe will never afterward be the same. To describe what has happened, one has to cross out the old word observer and put into its place the new word participator. In some strange sense, the universe is a participatory universe. In other words, you, when you start to observe, cease to be an observer, cease to be a watcher, you now become a participator. You become part of the action. David Darling goes on, somehow, now listen, I want you to listen very carefully because somehow, it's on page 31 of this book, somehow through the act of observation, subatomic particles, and that's what you are briefly summoned out of a kind of mathematical never-never land of potentiality and possibility into the solid world of tangible things. In quantum parlance, an observation results in a collapse of the wave function. Now remember that light, which is God, travels as a wave. So in other words, we're going to change the characteristic of God from this to this. And then, suddenly that wave, bingo, finds itself. Okay? Now, Darling goes on stating that when we have the collapse of the wave function, we have the instantaneous telescoping down of the probability spread to a localized point, a real particle. In you, that's the pineal gland of the brain. Now this is what he says. But what counts as a valid observation? I mean, what counts as an observation? I tell you to observe, to watch yourself. Remember what I said? All I said for you to do, and I said to this takes 5 seconds. Remember, it used to be 10 seconds, but I knew that was too much of a burden, so I cut it down to 5 seconds. So 5 seconds, and all you had to do was say, I am watching myself. Hold your breath, 5 seconds, and then bang, you're gone. This is what he says. What counts as a valid observation? Who or what qualifies as an effective quantum observer? A measuring instrument? A human being? A committee of people? No one is sure. But the most widely accepted viewpoint first advocated by the Danish physicist Niels Bohr, referred to as the Copenhagen interpretation, is this. The sudden change in character or collapse of the wave function is brought about ultimately by conscious observership, the registering of an event, such as the reading of an instrument in the mind. So by consciously observing yourself, you bring about the collapse of the wave down to the particle. And Darling concludes by saying, this is a staggering conclusion, and it appears the more so when one remembers that all of the material universe is comprised of subatomic particles. Not some of it, all of it, including you. What happens in a laboratory, which they prove, happens inside of you. It's the same thing as inside of there. So you see that there is a real scientific basis for watching yourself for those brief seconds, especially when the world is on the brink of this great confusion. Pluto and the small gray Charon are just 8 days away. Well, what's going to happen? Let me be the first to tell you. Are you ready for this? Nothing. And yet, everything. Because as Albert told us, the entire electromagnetic universal cosmic web is changed because something has moved. Something has changed orbit. And who was it? The little gray, sniveling boatman Charon. So you see, it's a real scientific base. So you watch yourself, and this happens. Now, we put down David Darling's book, Zen Physics, and we pick up the other book, the Holy Bible, the Word of God. And what does the Word of God say? The Word of God says in Psalm 102:7, I watch and am as a sparrow alone upon the housetop. That's beautiful. I watch. What are you watching? And am as a sparrow alone upon the housetop. Did you ever see a bird? I saw one yesterday. I was with the dog. With Joan and I went out. We took the dogs out. Joan and the dog took the dogs for a walk. Way at the top of this tree was a bird. The sky was gray and cloudy behind it, but this bird sat way at the top all by itself, watching. In Mark 13:37, Jesus said this. I don't do this, but I'd like you to repeat it with me. I don't want to make you get too churchy, but this is a good one. Just repeat this to me. This is what Jesus says. And what I say to you, and what I say to you, I say to all. Watch. Did you feel it? Yeah, I did. Luke 21:36, he says, watch therefore, and pray always that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass. Watch. And in Daniel 4:13, it says, and I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher, a holy one came down from heaven. A holy one came down from heaven and visited Cindy. Confirm for me. There was a hand and an arm, and it wasn't attached to a body. And the last time you heard of a hand and an arm not attached to a body, what did it write on the wall? Mene. And what was the number of Mene? 45, 55. Then she gets up and puts the green light on. It's a little late, isn't it? It's a good thing these are nice people. And so I pray that you will watch with me, as this is a tremendous time of cosmic change that's taking place. Watching. And please, and that's what I've said to you, you can't listen to me and believe this stuff. What the heck do I know? But you've got these guys who are writing books you can read and you can understand them. John read this book. It's a magnificent book, isn't it, John? And I'm not selling books, but I would do it. I would say, and all of you people that go to church that watch this show and you don't tell anybody that you're watching it. This is, yeah, I know. Go get this book. It's called Zen Physics by David Darling. Or get the books by Gary Zukav, Dancing Woolly Masters. Get the books by John Gribben. Just get them. These guys will explain to you this is really true. It's not hard to understand this. I'm not telling you a bunch of stuff. I'm telling you what's true. Now, just let me real quick show you this, okay? Watching the light, which you are, receive the angle of light from above, which is your family. These are your this, although it had a strange appearance, just try to understand it. You're looking from a primitive mind at a physical appearance that's conducive to another atmosphere, to a different thing. Don't worry about that. But this very book that you have called the Bible gives you the instructions as to how you're to proceed. In the Bible, the people of light were symbolized by the tribe of Judah. You've got Bibles. It just takes time, if you want to know the scriptures, I'll tell you. But anyhow, let's go on with this. The tribes were positioned in the desert, which is a myth. But they, Numbers chapter 2, verse 3 says, and on the east side, towards the rising of the sun, shall the standard of the camp of Judah pitch. So Judah is at the right side. Whenever you look north, east is on the right side. So Judah, the tribe of light, is camping at the right side. Now, how many people were in this group? In Numbers chapter 2:9, it says that the number of people in this camp was 186,400, which is the constant speed of light through the universe as a wave. 186,400. And as the tribe of light, look at this. In 2 Samuel 2:10, it says, Saul's son was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel. But the house of Judah followed David. Judah followed David. Why? Light is following David. Why? Okay? We know that they camped at the right side. 186,400 is a symbol showing that they're the electromagnetic waves that we're talking about here. And it says in 1 Kings 11:36, and unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may always have a light before me in Jerusalem. So God says, I'm going to give David a tribe so he always has light. And then in 2 Kings 8:19, it said, the Lord would not destroy Judah for David his servant's sake, as he always promised him to give him a light. So the one tribe that is symbolized as the tribe of light, or the people of light, is the tribe of Judah. And they camped at the east or the right side, and their numbers are 186,400, which is the constant speed of light. Camping at the right side is symbolic for meditation, activating the right side of the brain, not literally. Not literally the right side. It's a symbol, it's a term used to designate that part where the God part, that what we used to call the spiritual part, that which is the connection to the universal part, the nature part, which is actually the center part. But that part where you may begin to ascend beyond the realm to your true home and to your true family. People of light are those who in their meditation deal as I have suggested to you. And now especially, it means redirecting the energy by telling yourself you're watching yourself to collapse this wave to a particle, directing the force back to the pineal where the new instructions will enter. This is a time when, my God, you know, look, you've seen all of the changes on the earth. You've seen the changes in governments. You've seen the change. And as I said with this Clinton thing over and over again, yet all of these terrible things, and nobody got freaked out except the people who belong to the cults. And the reason is because something has changed in the makeup. We are building towards a higher communion. We are not building a communion of judging. We are not building a communion of, I mean, did you see Monica? Did you watch Monica? You think things aren't changing? This kid's on there telling about her sex experiences with the president, and she's giggling, and she said, well, it didn't hurt anybody. It didn't hurt his job, didn't hurt my job. Her job was bringing pizza. And nobody cared. Nobody cared. The whole thing changes. The whole concepts have changed. The whole world has changed. And it is because of the light forces working within, because we are directing ourselves to a new non-judgmental time, a new time of peace, a new time of relationships, but a difficult time for those who cling to the cults and to the groups. And with this wisdom, you'll exercise this light within you, and you'll be able to connect your conscious network with the universal network to bring you to a higher realm. New thoughts emerging from within and without via the pineal gland of your brain will allow communications to other regions of the universe. You're going to be part of all this. This is all given to you. What you are practicing for is the ability to penetrate different energy fields by means of a higher or superior energy, which occurs only via a clearly defined signal through the pineal. And as Jesus said in the Bible, if your eye be single, your body will fill with light. So here's a time when we're going to do something entirely different. And I don't want anybody to feel that you have to be forced into anything. Here's the time when you can get up and leave. It's perfectly fine, and it's no problem here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the TV off because I don't want to inhibit anybody. I'm going to wave bye-bye and thank you. Yes?
I'm going to want to mention something.
Yes, wait a minute. Wait till I come.
And if it comes out or not, I don't know.
Well, it may or may not.
Everything that
Oh, you're not going to do
everything.
Wait a minute. Here's the first thing he does. He gives this guy a microphone, and he's got to hold the microphone. Now, this is what he says. Now, the first thing I want to tell you to do. So, what we're going to leave your hands off of the microphone.
Yeah. All right.
Now, you can't see Albert, can you? Why don't you
No.
Get out.
No,
Now you're connected to him like an umbilical cord.
Now, turn around.
No. Hi. You're going to do some...
Can you come over here?
No.
Huh?
All right. He's going to do something for me.
Okay.
And we have been talking about waves in quantum. And the other thing, Bill's saying, watch at you. The point is, I have to see these things in scientific reasons. And Bill talks about it continuously, and he tells us, and we didn't point out we need to talk about. Now, here's what I'm going to talk about. Wave is made particular. Could you please put that in the board?
Absolutely. Here, you hold it. What do you want me to do here?
Make the wave, but make it not the way you make it, the way it really is.
Okay.
And it's so very, very simple. We'll
Okay.
see.
Take the way.
Dot, 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 dot. That's all.
Like that?
Ah. Now, you notice that when you made a particle, if you look at it, make a little face that's made from that one part, the one particle part.
Make a little face.
Yeah, make a face.
You made a face before, Billy. Bill, you made a face before out of one particle.
Just
There
a
you go.
little round circle with the eyes in it.
All right. There we go. Now, we,
I did good, didn't I?
yes. And,
Day job.
and Bill, these are the same words. There is a way that we look at it. The particular, he's looking at himself. But who's looking at him? This space. That space is not nothing. That is part of the entire wave. So the part that you see is the people that we see is the particle part. In between there is just the same to us, but you can't see it. That is the 4-5
whole.
like that.
The whole. Did you want to add anything?
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, let us say goodbye to the television and turn that off.